Today I'm going to show you how I bedazzled this salted butter glass bottle using an old avocado oil bottle. I'm going to peel off the label from both sides, and then I'm going to use Goo Gone to strip like the residue off of the bottle. I let that sit for a few minutes, and once I did that, I washed it with soap and water and dried it completely because it does leave like a little residue, but it smells really good. And then once I did that, I spray painted the bottle yellow so that I could get the butter color, and I used a SVG from Cricut Design Space for the butter. So the first thing I completed was the side with the butter like measurements, and I'm using a SS20 or a 5M rhinestone in royal blue. I decided that I should just start with this side. I'm gonna work on the bottle in sections, and I'm using the honeycomb method, which is applying 1 rhinestone in between every 2 rhinestones to make a honeycomb like pattern. When I first started bedazzling, I was using B7000 because I couldn't find my liquid fusion. I think I'm running low. And as I progressed, I noticed that the B7000 was eating the paint. So I scrambled and found my liquid fusion, and it wasn't much left, but it did work for the project. But here is me completing the honeycomb method for the side of the bottle with the measurements. As you can see here, I'm doing the honeycomb method multiple ways. I'm doing it diagonally and I'm doing it up and down. I just really want to keep it nice and straight because we are dealing with 4 sides here and anything could go wrong. And whenever something doesn't fit, I use a smaller stone. Like here, I try to zoom in as much as possible. I use a few smaller stones so that it looks really seamless and straight. Moving right along, I'm just gonna keep going with my honeycomb method, applying a small amount of glue and placing 1 rhinestone in between every 2 rhinestones. I think this took me about maybe a half an hour to do. The honeycomb method, I feel like it's easier. Oh, here is just another close-up of me applying the smaller filler stones. I think it was 2M, but the honeycomb method, I feel like it was easier to do with this one. This was time consuming. I think overall the project took at least 7 hours, but then it's really hard to tell because I don't keep track of the time. I'm just making an estimate, and I'm usually doing like watching something and bedazzling and all types of other things. But this did take, I would plan aside maybe 7 hours to do this. And this is how I did the bottom. As you can see, it was pretty straight. The goal is to keep it as straight as possible, and that's what I planned on doing. Now this side is just like a plain side. I try to wait at least 20 minutes in between blinging on the sides, like on each side, because you don't want the glue to shift the rhinestones. So give it some time to cure. And I think I did that for like 20 minutes. And then on another day, like when I did the actual like logo or the little lettering, I did that on a completely separate day. So here is just me showing you how I do the honeycomb method with nothing standing in the way. The bottle is kind of curved, so I noticed that I had to use a lot of filler stones around like the edges of the glass bottle. So keep that in mind. I didn't use a lot, but it was okay. And then a nice little trick that I would suggest is try to leave a little space, just a tiny bit of space in between your rhinestones when you do the edges, so that this way you could limit the use of filler stones. I use this trick often. I may have to upload a video with explaining how I do this. But here again, I'm applying a small amount of glue, and I'm using the side that's completed as my guide for my lines with the glue so that I keep everything nice and straight. I feel like I did a really good job making sure that the honeycomb method continues seamlessly to the other side. So remember, again, take your time. There's no rush. and use liquid fusion glue. I put it inside a precision tip bottle. I'm gonna leave those linked below in my Amazon storefront. And yes, remember to take your time. This definitely took some time. Took longer than I expected. This actually took longer than me doing a tumbler, which shocked me, but it's cool. It's a learning lesson. And here I'm doing the lettering. I'm using royal blue rhinestones in the sizes 2M through 5M. I believe I used 3M for the smaller font, and I started with 5M for the bigger font. I'm basically just tracing the lettering with the size rhinestone that fits the best. In this scenario, it was the 3M or the 4M. I can't really tell, but that's all you're doing when you do like lettering, is tracing the letters with the rhinestone. And I feel like it turned out really good. The one thing that I would change if I could go back and do this project over again is maybe with the bigger letters, I would start off with a 4M and I would double up on like the sides of like the B, the U, because the 5M worked. It just left a little bit of space. I like to have everything completely covered in rhinestones, which I don't think is a bad thing, but it could have been fuller. Like, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. What's your style that you usually do? And, you know, any suggestions from myself. But here, I'm using a 5M. Simple. You know, don't want to overwhelm yourself with something like this. I was not expecting this to take so long. But now I understand why people do bling bottles and their prices as the way they are, because it is time consuming. But I'm also not a person that likes to drink alcohol, so I feel like this was a great alternative. Instead of doing a bedazzled alcohol bottle, you can do your olive oil bottle and you can make it butter. I mean, who doesn't like butter? And if you don't like butter, just bedazzle your olive oil bottle. But or avocado oil. I use both. I use all three actually. Let me know in the comments what you use with the emoji. Yeah, let's make it fun. Use a fun emoji. But here I'm filling in like the spaces in between the lettering with transparent yellow rhinestones. I'm just placing them randomly, making sure that they fit. No specific order, just kind of placing them to fill in that space. And this is how it turned out. I actually enjoyed this part because it feels like the project is really coming together and I can see it being executed. And I just love like the transparent rhinestones. How even though the yellow isn't like the same color as butter, I think it's the closest to butter and it sparkles, so I love it. And if you made it this far in the video, let me know if you like salted butter or unsalted butter. Use a fun emoji. But here we're gonna start working our way towards the top of the bottle. I'm still using the honeycomb method, and I'm gonna use it as much as possible until I can't no more. So as I gradually move forward to the top of the bottle, I noticed that things were getting a little tight, but I wanted to make sure that it stayed seamless. You know, just when it looks seamless, it looks so good. So I'm just making sure that like the honeycomb method is shown throughout the entire project. And here is another look at it. Oh, I just had to capture this portion because the sun was shining on my desk, and you see how the rhinestones are reflecting on the desk. I thought it was so pretty, so mesmerizing. Here's a little close-up. Even a rhinestone, like it was a mood, it was a vibe. So just placing my rhinestones one rhinestone at a time, using the honeycomb method. At this point, I think this was the third day of the project, and I was ready to just give up because I'm like, this is taking forever, and I don't know what it was. Oh, perfect. This is where I closed those, like the edges of like that curve on the avocado oil bottle. I'm following one side with the honeycomb method, and then I follow the other side with the honeycomb method, and then I place the filler stones in between. Yes, that's what I did. And you see how it looks at the top there? You can't even tell. I personally can't tell, but it still looks seamless, right? So just use that kind of method, and then it will work. It could work. And then there's another way I usually do to make it look seamless, but I have to show you in a different video. And here I'm just placing the pieces to the puzzle together between the salted and the butter font. And I'm still following the honeycomb method. As you can see, I know like keeping the line straight here was gonna be a challenge, because I know there's too many factors going on at the font. I was actually second guessing myself, like, is it Cricut? I don't know. At this point in the project, I was really delirious. I was just ready to get it over with. I'm like, I don't see how these girls do the freaking bling balls. I'm losing my mind. And here is the curved edge. I actually did it. No, I didn't do it. I used the filler stone. I'm sorry. But you could, like, if I could suggest anything, I would say space out those rhinestones just a tiny bit so that it kind of just flows. And then you could use a smaller filler stone, like a 2M or a 2M would be best, because it really does blend. But here, I'm just continuing to fill in those little small crevices with rhinestones. I was ready to give up, y'all. I really was. But I'm just like, you know, I gotta see this through, because not everybody drinks alcohol. Well, I don't drink alcohol. I can't speak for everybody else. And I just wanted to have a fun alternative. Let me know what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink with fun emojis in the comments if you made it this far through the video. But yeah, I'm just continuing to fill in those spaces. At one point, I wanted to just do the scatter method. I feel like that probably would have just eased everything. But I chose to do the honeycomb method, and I continued all the way through towards the end, as you can see here. I just want to say that rhinestoning is overwhelming for everybody, as you can see throughout this video. Even me talking about it, even though it's already recorded, this was a lot for me. And this is something that I wanted to bring to life and showcase to others and teach them how to, you know, take things from their home and make it sparkle. You just gotta take your time. And if you need to complete it over days, then do so. Nobody's judging you. Just remember to take your time. And to wrap the video up, this is me applying filler stones to complete that, you know, seamless look that I always aim for. And this is how it turned out. When I said blood, sweat, and tears, this was blood, sweat, and tears. I love it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bedazzled content.